All right, so I just grabbed the Air Jordan 4 white cement. This is probably one of my favorite shoes of all time. Back in 1989 when these came out, I was like in, I don't know, 6th, 7th grade or something like that. And all the kids that, whose parents would buy them these, came to school with these. And man, I fell in love with Jordans at that point. It was the 1s, the 2s, or the 3s that got me. I mean, the 3s looked kind of cool, I think I was in 6th grade, 5th or 6th on that one. But it was when the 4s came out. The 4s came out right here. This white cement 4 right here was the first shoe that I actually fell in love with in the Jordan line. So I got I picked these up from StockX. I always am weary when I pick stuff up from StockX or GOAT or any place like that if it ain't straight from Nike. And even then, who knows if some of the employees at like Nike can take a fake pair, slide it in there, and replace one of the real ones or one of their fake pairs or something like that. With shoes being $225 right here, you can probably get a fake one for, I don't know, 100 maybe if you can, then try to sell it or flip it, whatever. People do a lot of dumb, crazy shit. So we have the Air Jordan 4 here. So I'm just relacing them up right here, but I had to, like, while I'm in the middle of that, I wanted to look at some of the stuff, try to legit check my own shoe here, because I kind of know what to look for in a lot of Jordans. The fakes have a lot of different stitching issues or black light things, that glow funny. So let's take a real quick peek here. One of the things you do want to see, you don't want your air bubble to be too clear. It's kind of foggy, right? That's always a sign that the fake ones sometimes will have like a real clear air bubble right there, and that's usually a sign that it's fake right there. I know it depends on when they make it. Sometimes you'll have slightly different stuff going on, or different factories. The paint might be slightly different, so you'll get some variances, once, because they're making hundreds of thousands of pairs of some of this stuff. So you will get those variances in certain things, but a lot of times you'll get the quality. You could tell on some of the fakes. That one line right here, that stitch right there on the fakes, sometimes is really bad. It's really easy to see, or slightly crooked or something like that. But on this one here, it's pretty nice. Look at both pairs right there. That line is pretty nice right here. The stitching is really nice. You want to look really close at this stitching right here. The bottom line is 1 stitch. The top one is like 2 stitches real close. If you look, you have to look real close right there, but you could see like two stitches on the top one and 1 on the bottom. A lot of fakes will just do the 1 and 1, so this one has the double stitch there. On the tongue, one of the things you want to look for on the tongue, look real close here. It's 1 stitch all the way around, really nice, but at the bottom there's like a little section with 2 or 3 of them is the double stitch. I think that's where it starts, goes around and stops, and they overlap it, double stitch right at the bottom of that tongue right there. That's another sign of the legit pairs. The fake ones have messed up stitching, spacings all off, and then they don't have the double stitch right there. You definitely want to look at the stitching on the back here. It's real nice and small and tight. Real nice and small and tight right there. It looks really nice. The actual paint speckle is not too much and it's not too little. I've seen some of the fake ones that people were showing had too much speckle, and then some not enough. Some of them look like they're just like different sized dots. Here, actually looks like they splattered it. So on the real ones like that, definitely want to look and make sure you got the widow's peak. Some of the fake ones will have a widow's peak on both spots here. You got like it's hard to see that one, but there's another little widow's peak right up in here. See if it's easier to see at this angle. Yeah, you can kind of see it right there, but it's more prominent on the bottom one there. But one of my favorite ways to look at stuff is the black light test. Here, let me get that light off real quick. All right, so we got the light off here. What you want to look at, so when you do the black light test here, when the netting shines here, it shines, but on some of the fakes it shines like way too much. It'll shine way too much right there. The netting on the side here should shine. The inside of the shoe, on the edges here, that leather right there, that leather edge shines a little bit. I know it's going to be a little bit hard, because I got a forward facing light there, but you have the inside here, all the stitching on the inside of there shines. Let's see if you can see in there. Yeah, you see the stitching in there. It's all shining in there, and it's really nice and not like separated. It's actually really well, the actual array on there looks nice right there. But on some of the fakes right here, it'll be all over the place, separate, too far, kind of wonky a little bit. But yeah, these are some of those things here. There's you see, I think on the back here, on the back of the tongue here, this should glow. On some of the fakes, that doesn't glow. This one glows. That glows. The tongue glows a little bit right here. You can see the tongue glowing a little bit. I know I have the light there, but the tongue glows. You see that right there? The wings over here actually gets a slight glow to them. The Nike, this Nike tag does not glow. If your Nike tag really is glowing, that just like it has a reflection here. It does not glow at all. It just kind of catches a light and doesn't shine it back. That Nike tag should be glossy on the inside. You can see the gloss right there, and it's a little more matted on the outside. So it's got two different, textures. Glossy, matted on the outside right there. There's you always got to look for those extra double stitching, like on the back of the tongue too. We get back. We're done with the black light here. So on the back of the tongue here, that upside down Air Jordan logo, when you go around, it's the same like on the front. It's the same like on the front. You have stitching that goes all the way around, and then at the bottom, like the 2 or 3 of them, is where it overlaps, and they get that little bit of double stitching right there on the back of that tongue right there. So and then also, when I did have the black light, I should have did this. The Nike Air right here gets a little reaction. There's a little reaction from the black light. You can actually see it right there a lot more in the camera here than it actually is, but that actually catches a little bit of light, and that's a sign of a good insole. This is the overseas pair. When you look at the actual tag in here, it says XC instead of like that LM stuff. The XC is like the overseas pairs. So this is an overseas pair. Sometimes those overseas pairs are done at different factories, so you're going to see differences from an American pair, but it shouldn't be like huge differences like from the some of the reps, like the clear air bubble. No, that's a sign as it's fake right there. The bottom, I know some of the American ones say like AJ11, and it's a little more flat, but this one here, it's a size 10.5. It's got a couple different, it's got different lettering there. You kind of see what we got here, what it says there, 10.5. And so it doesn't say have that AJ11 like those American pairs do that I've seen some people with, and it's a really nice insert. I mean, look at that. I've seen some of the fake ones where it just doesn't look clean. It looks kind of messy. That insert is really nice. That insole there. So there's another one there. Very nice there. But yeah, the quality on the leather though, like one of the things about this, the quality on the leather, it's really stiff, but it is leather. It's real leather. It's got the polyurethane coating over it, which but it kind of reminds me of the same leather that's on the high 85s, and they're real hard, but that's good quality leather. Those high 85s, it might seem plasticky, but the high 85 Jordan 1s have a really nice quality leather. And if you look in there, you can kind of see the leather in here. You should be able to see nice thick gray leather right there. It's pretty nice. That's a good sign right there. Yeah, this is like I said, it's one of my favorite shoes right here. You want this should flop right back up when you pull it down. Same with the toe box. They always, you'll see those videos. They always check the toe box. When you push it down, it just pops right back up. Really doesn't have any like spring to it. It just, like a slow spring, it just pops right back up. So you want that to just pop right back into place right there. So this is, after getting everything I get from StockX, before I cut this tag off here, I always legit check myself. I'm not like a professional, so it's just good to watch a bunch of people's videos that have real versus fakes. I've been doing that probably since about 2018, 2019. So I've been buying from StockX, and the first shoe I bought that gave me just a funny thought was some playoff 13s, the ones from like 2011, 2012, I think. I got those shoes and I wore them once, and the Nike Jumpman on the inside the Jordan Jumpman rubbed off like on one wear, and I researched and I found other people that said that that's what happened with their legit pairs that they got from Foot Locker or Champs and stuff like that. So I've been trying to legit check every single one of my pairs of shoes ever since, you know, that one pair of playoff 13s. So this is to me, I feel like this is authentic. I can cut this tag off and I can start wearing it. I will also take this tag off because I'm not one of the people that puts those on, keeps that on there, you know. So yeah, so this is, I'm happy with this. The leather quality, like I said, the 2016 pair that I had better quality leather on it. Or it was, at least it was softer. Let's just say that it was softer. This might be a better quality right here. This just might be some better quality leather. It just feels harder. It feels more stiff. But you know, the test of time, you know. One other thing that, you know, there's like a little bit of red bleed behind this tongue on all the legit pairs. I mean, you know, I've even seen the fake ones had like even more. Sometimes you can actually see some lines behind here. But like, you know, when you look at the down at the top of the tongue right there, you're gonna see like red lines, you know, in the corners here and stuff like that. So that's a, you know, that's a legit thing there. You want your netting not to move too much. This is, so some of the other fake ones have like a real more plasticky instead of rubbery. When you do this, it should be very muted. You hear that sound? Kind of like a muted sound. If it's like on some of those plasticky ones, it's like you could really hear your fingernail like reverberate off there. Here it's just kind of like that. And when you push it back and forth, it doesn't move too much. You know, it's separated from the netting for sure, but it doesn't move a lot. It's nice and soft, very supple, but it kind of stays in place, you know. So it's nice. This is kind of back to the OG spec, and it's a little thicker too. You know, the squares are you know, a little bit smaller because it's nice and thick. Some of the fake ones I seen were a little bit thinner, you know, and then the netting color might be a little more bright, or even some of them more yellowish. This one is kind of like pretty close to the shoe color. I think it has just a slight tint to it, a little darker yellowish tint to it. The shoelaces also do not react to the black light. You know, they kind of just, if they do, it could be just like a slight. I noticed just like maybe you could barely notice that it'll react, but some of the fakes, the fake shoelaces are super bright. They really react. You know, the also, you know, the holes on here. Look how perfect these holes are right here. Perfect holes right there. All the holes are perfect behind those waffles right there. Just looks. I don't know, grab the other one. Just looks nice, you know. Those are perfect. On some of the fakes, they'll be really bad. Sometimes don't even line up with the waffle opening, you know. So this is, you know, it's actually a very well done shoe, you know. I mean, I'm not gonna like I can't bash the leather too much because I actually think it's a quality heavyweight leather. The shoe is heavy, it's bulky, it's not your super light. It's not, it seems like it's way heavier than the Jordan 13s and 12s and stuff like that. And those are high tops. So I mean, this is like I said, one of my favorite shoes of all time. Actually, this one is probably my favorite shoe of all time when it comes to Jordans. This shoe right here, you know, the Taxi 12s are kind of up there. The Bread 13s are up there. And then, of course, the Chicago ones. I have a few of my favorites that every time they come out, I buy. So this shoe right here, you know, this is a must cop. I did pick this up above retail, but I paid $235 off of StockX, and then I got a $15 off coupon. So that kind of negated almost all of the shipping cost, or we'll just say like that other fee that they add on there. So, you know, so I didn't get this too much above retail, so which is nice. I mean, retail $225 on these things, so for me to pay it was actually $230 for a pair, but I paid the extra $5 to get one that was already authenticated and waiting, you know, to be shipped out, because they do have that service on StockX. I think Goat has that too, pre-verified and ready to ship kind of thing. So I got them much faster. Ordered these 5 or 6 days ago, and they were here, so that was nice. You know, if you don't do that, then the seller has to ship them to StockX. StockX has to verify them, and then they ship them to you, and that could take 2 or 3 weeks. This got to me within 5 days, and you know, today's Monday. I don't even count Sunday, so literally got to me in 4 days, which is nice. So, you know, I've been a StockX buyer for years. I've always like legit checked my stuff when I get them. man, because it's just these reps are getting really good these days. So just be careful out there when you buy something. Some of us could be wearing some reps that are so good that we wouldn't know. I didn't hit on the box, but the box is pretty much standard. There's no stickers or stamps in the box. If you have one of those green stickers in there, the American pairs and the overseas pairs don't seem to have that. I'm not sure if there's a pair from somewhere else that could, like in Europe or something like that, but as far as I know, they don't have that, so and this is from the XC factory. Like I said, it's a little bit different from the American factories. These are the ones that are meant to be shipped to Japan or China or wherever, Indonesia. But yeah, so this is one of those pairs. I got beautiful, one of my favorite shoes of all time. Oh man, can't wait to finish putting these laces up. It's raining outside. I'm not gonna be wearing them today, but later on this week when it stops raining, take these out on the weekend. All right, man. See you guys on the next video. I am out.